Hey there, toy collector friends and Batman fans alike. Welcome back to the channel. I'm the Triple TC, that's the time traveling toy collector, and this is another entry into the Batman Automobilia collection as put out by Eagle Moss Hero Collector back in the day. This is a really interesting one. I like this one particularly because it is, again, another sidestep interpretation of the Batmobile. It's taken from Detective Comics number 219. Now, I'm not a comics aficionado, as I've told people before, but I have a real joy in looking at the range and different types of Batmobiles that are out there, including the Bat trains and the Bat planes and the Bat copters and the Bat this and the Bat other. But this is a really interesting one. So we'll go through the usual process of looking at it in the case, taking it off, well, taking the crystal case cover off, looking at the diorama element, and then looking in a bit more detail up close and personal at the model itself. Before we get into that, I would just like to say thank you very much for stopping by and watching this video. If you're one of my current subscribers, huge thank you for sticking with me. If you're not yet a subscriber, I'd really appreciate it if you would drop a free subscription to the channel. It costs you nothing and it would really be appreciated. It certainly helps me get towards my next subscriber milestone, and that would be fantastic. And whilst you're doing that, if you could just drop a like to the video, that would also be truly wonderful. But if not, I'm just glad you're here, and let's get on to the main attraction. The main attraction is this. It is the Batmobile as it was depicted in Detective Comics 219. And as we see here, standard Eagle Moss delivery. We've got the crystal case with the bat symbol at the top. This one is losing its, well, there you go. It's losing its integrity a bit and doesn't really want to stay on. Had that with a few of them, to be fair. But there we go. I mean, again, these are knocking back a few years now, so I might just need to give it a little bit of loving glue and see if we can't do something about that. Now, this design, as I say, I'm not a comics aficionado, so I don't know a huge amount about the history of it. But what I do know is, or at least what I remember, so if anyone knows more, by all means, let me know in the comments below. This was a Batmobile designed specifically for the function of this particular story, where I believe Batman had to take part in a cross-country race, but it had to be a vintage car in order to enter. And of course, Batman, being a stickler for the rules and justice and the law, made sure he had a vintage car that would meet those requirements, and hence we have the birth of this particular beauty. And it does have some very nice sort of vintage car features, which we'll look at in close up in a moment. And yeah, I really like it. Again, it's fastened in with screws, and I won't be undoing the screws. I do leave these vehicles in their boxes, just because I am very aware that whilst they are evocative of some of the toys that have been produced, they're themselves not really toys, they're just collectibles, and it's a collected set, so I don't really want to risk taking them off and finding out just how fragile some of them are. As we know from other videos, a lot of some of the Eagle Moss stuff can be quite fragile and doesn't really live up to robust play, shall we say. So we'll take the glass, it's not glass, it's transparent plastic. We'll take that off. We'll pop the car itself down there for a second, and we'll do a bit of a look at how it is presented to us. So we do get this lenticular design. So if I bend it, you can see how that works, as it does sort of play with the perception of those cars. And I do like that. I do like that particular gimmick of these backdrops, because they don't give us much, to be fair, with these cars. So the fact that we do have that sort of ever so slightly not quite 3D, but sort of 3D adjacent lenticular artwork at the back, so I do sort of like that. I'll tell you what I don't like so much is sometimes when they make a little bit of a tactical error with how they produce it. So this is great and fine, and you know, it does everything it does, and it's probably a reproduced panel from the comic book, but they're facing the wrong way. Well, either they're facing the wrong way or the Batmobile is, because when it's behind it, the Batmobile is in essence sort of blocking the road. So And we've seen a couple of other ones like that, and there are a few others where it's just the placement or the scale isn't 100%. And again, don't get me wrong, it doesn't detract from my enjoyment of the model. It's just an observation that these are all churning along, and you can see the smoke and the dust being kicked up by their tyres. Ergo, they're travelling at quite a speed, so I don't think they're going to break in time. Just my personal view. So let me pop that down there, and then we can take a look at the base with the model. Now, again, unlike some of the Eagle Moss, although arguably far like way too many of them, there's nothing additional on the base. We did for the first few issues, not that I'm doing them chronologically, please be aware of that. I am aware I'm not doing them chronologically, but the first few issues we did have a few additional props on the base just to sort of pull it out a bit and give it a bit of context and texture. The artwork on the base isn't bad at all, actually. It does look quite rocky, as a rocky road, and grubby and dusty, so that works out quite well. But yeah, there's nothing really else. I don't know what else there could be, to be fair. Maybe a clump of grass or something, I don't know, but there isn't anything here. So we can move instead, and I'm going to zoom in slightly so I can keep the light on it. Move into the car itself. Now we have wonderful seats there. I love the way they've been reproduced here. We've got, I mean, because it's just a wonderful sort of frame of a vintage car. We've got the tail there. I don't know if bats have tails like that, but you know, it's evocative of Batmobiles yet to come and that have been. So we have the bat tail there, giving us a bit of fin action at the end. I love the extended not hubcaps, the extended sort of mud guards here that flow out. We've got the white trim around the wheels, and a really lovely detail. I think it's a really lovely detail. I'm just reaching for a pen so you can really see it. So I point in here, you can see here on the wheels, just in between the spokes there, and it's replicated elsewhere, the little attachment to reinflate the wheels. I think that's a beautiful little touch. You see that there? I think that's a beautiful little touch in the design, and it's present in the back wheel as well. So I think that's terrific. You've got the bat signal there, which sort of there aren't doors per se, but there looks like there might be a bit of a door at the back there, and you can see it just sort of goes across the crease of the door where it hinges. Moving around to the front, we've got, and this is again very nice, we've got two headlamps. We've got arguably four headlamps. So we've got these two lovely red lamps here. And we've got the two forward-facing lamps there. Then we've got the bat face. I don't know whether that would serve as an additional battering ram. No pun intended. But it's there, and I really like it. We've got this low-hanging element here on the chassis, which I do see. I watched some period drama stuff with this car, and there does seem to be these weird things that hang underneath. So I thought that was a neat touch, having that there. We move around to the side of the car. It sort of replicates what we have on the front. Again, you can see in the wheels there, within the wheels themselves, you can see the inflation units or pipes or vents. Really nice touch is the windshield, which you can see there is filled in with clear plastic. It's a very nice touch. And then we have some more vintage car interior we can take a look at. So yeah, we've got that. But we've got this dashboard there with some nice, pulled out in silver, on what looks to be a wood effect dashboard. Some nice buttons and dials, and a prolonged, elongated steering wheel. So again, really lovely. We've got some ironwork along the front there. You can see those rivets in against the bonnet, which presumably folds up to give us access to the engine. It doesn't scream a ton of bat gadgets or crime-fighting memorabilia. Paraphernalia, perhaps, is what I'm after there. But I think it works really well. It's a really nicely designed model. I don't, as I say, I've not seen the issue itself that it comes from. Probably predates me quite significantly, I'd like to think anyway. But I really like the aesthetic of this piece. I mean, I've not yet presented anything that in the Batman Automobilia range that really doesn't appeal to me. There are one or two things that will come later as I'm looking at these, which are a bit dubious. But this isn't one of them. This is one that I really like. So what do you think? Have you collected this range? Have you got this particular car in your collection? Can you give me a bit more detail about the I know I could Google the comic itself, but I just wondered, you know, it might be more interesting to get your perspectives on what you think about the story it comes from, and whether this ranks as one of your favorite Batmobile styles. I really like it as an oddity, as a sort of one-off Batmobile. I do genuinely really like it. It appeals to me no end. So thanks for spending the last 12 or so minutes with me. I've been the Triple TC, that's the time traveling toy collector. You've been a wonderful audience. Again, do let me know down in the comments if there's a Batmobile or a Bat vehicle that you'd like me to pull out and have a look at as part of this series. More than happy to do that, as I do have the entire range that was released. Other than that, just remains for me to say again, thank you for sticking around. I do hope you can subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'd really appreciate a like for the video. It really helps me and helps the channel tackle the villainous algorithm. So take care. I hope very much to see you in a future video, and it just remains for me to say that a thing of beauty really is a toy forever. Bye bye for now.